Welcome to strategic management. Last time we did discuss about the integration of strategic management. Today we will finish up this topic and we will look into detail what this integration intuitions and analysis does for the strategic management. To start off, strategic management process attempts to organize quantitative and qualitative information under condition of uncertainty. Whenever we do talk about uncertainty, that is where managers have problems in looking for those aspects in market or in management wise where they need to do the qualitative and quantitative analysis. For this, they have to integrate these two intuitions and they have to analyze what those uncertainties are. For example, if the market situation is not favorable to the organization, they look for the qualitative and quantitative analysis in order for them to make assumptions, to make their analysis on certain basis where they can find out those weaknesses and cover them with their opportunities or their strong points. Internal problems can be also one of the reasons, or your economic, your legal situation. These problems, along with many other problems, are the reasons for which strategic managers or the management of any organization, they look into these analysis and they do quantify it and they qualify it whether these things are feasible enough to carry on or we need to do the certain changes, such as while integrating intuitions and analysis, intuition is based on past experience, judgments, and feelings. What was my past experience when I was doing certain rules, I was following certain rules, I was following certain procedures for the organization for which I was gaining all the positive vibes from the market, as well as organization was reaching to a point where they can say that we were achieving our targets. This is your past experience. Other way to look around, what happened previously, economic wise. Was the situation same as what we are facing today? World over, we are seeing a big economic problem, a big economic meltdown where economies of all the countries, whether developed or underdeveloped, they are not coming to that certain part to achieve their targets in such a way that they can say that yes, we are gaining our profits and yes, we are satisfying our customers' needs and wants. And on top of it, they are getting all what the organization basically aim for. By looking at the past, say 5 years, 10 years down previously, situations were not of this nature. As the time progresses, every single day, every single week which pass, it creates problems. We have more problems. Prices are going up worldwide of the commodity items, of your utilities. How to control these things? Because every time you increase the price of certain thing, you as an organization fall back on that particular project in regard to that I set my price where I can make profit and I can satisfy the needs and wants of my customers. But if your raw material is getting expensive, if your electricity is getting expensive, how can you cope up with these expenses? Because your profits are shrinking and there will be a time, and for most of the organization or for few of the organization, the time has come where they have started thinking that should we continue with this business or not? Why? Because they are not able to match the price. They are not able to give a competitive price to their customers. That's where their qualitative and quantitative analysis are failing. things are happening very fast. In order for the manager, they have to plan as such that at least that particular plan can run for good, I would say good 1 quarter, so that they can have good amount of profit. That's where we learn things from our past. Judgments, maybe my judgment is that tomorrow things will change. Maybe my judgment is that economic situations will change. Maybe my judgment is that yes, for the better times in very near future, say in a month's time, in 2 months' time, or in a year's time, things will happen in positive way, so that organizations can make that profit which they basically aim for. That's my personal judgment.
Don't you think so? Judgments are based on your past experiences.
Judgments are always on your past experiences. That's why this past experience is on top of the list, because you make your judgments on your past experiences. You cannot make just judgment that, okay, I am looking into things like this and this is my personal judgment. You cannot do that. You have to look into your past. Once you do that, then yes, you can have good judgments. At times, then again, I would say that whatever is happening around the world these days, your judgment cannot be up to the mark. Why? Because previously, I've gone back as far as 10 years. 10 years back, economic situation all over the world was good, right? So you make your judgments on those past experience, you will not get those targets, right? But the thing is go back another, I would say 50, 60 years, okay? When this Great Depression was there, when the world was fighting those 2 wars, what was happening? This is exactly what was the situation was. This is where things started. Now you can make your judgment on your past experience, that in 1930s and 40s when World War started, was the economic situation was like this, what we are facing today all over the world, or was it different? Then you make your judgment on it. And then, of course, your feelings. What do you feel? Whatever you have analyzed, whatever you have looked into it, are you feeling positive? Are you feeling that yes, you will achieve your targets? Are you feeling that the organization will gain to that point, will come to that point which they have basically worked for? Again, what your feelings are based on your judgment, and your judgments are based on your past experience. Moving on, intuitions is useful for decision making in conditions of great uncertainty and conditions with little precedent. Uncertainty is something in our business world that it is there. Why? Because you cannot be sure of anything what you are aiming for. Reason that yes, you make all the plans, yes, you do all your calculations, you do everything up to the mark where you are sure that you will get your desired results. But then again, in a manager's mind, at the back of his mind, always there is a question: am I going to be 100% or will there be a problem? That's the time when you say that things are uncertain. And then you use these qualitative and quantitative analysis, where you try to get rid of this uncertain factors to the limit where you can say that yes, I will achieve my targets. But then again, is uncertainty gone completely? Of course not. You don't know what's going to happen next. Suppose you decided something that today I'm going to set my price on this level where my taxes are as such, where my utilities are up to this mark, where I'm paying so much for my electricity and so much to my labor and so much to my petroleum products and so on and so forth. Whatever your expenses are, you have calculated that, and you are making a figure where you are making a good profit. All of a sudden something happened overnight. A war broke out. Shortage of raw material, shortage of labor goes on strike, floods, tsunamis, anything and everything which is happening all over the world these days, which everybody knows. Again, those uncertain factors do persist, and those uncertain factors basically create problems for the managers, where they are not sure that yes, 100% I will achieve my targets or not. So in order for you to have 100% certainty, not possible. There are always uncertain factors, but we always keep our fingers crossed, and we always think of this way that I have done my analysis, I have done my homework, and yes, I should be able to get my desired results. But then again, something happens overnight, something happens over the day, something happens during the week, you are not sure about it. Uncertainty remains there. Then we integrate intuitions and analysis. In that we have intuitions and judgments which involve management at all levels and influence all analysis. By this, whatever my judgment is, I being a manager of certain level, I have my own judgments, my own experiences, my own feelings and my own past experiences which I have brought into have my judgments. But the thing is this, when all the managers are involved, are we able to influence everybody? Chances are yes. Why? Because then you have the mainstream of that organization sitting at one room on a table where they are brainstorming and they are trying to get all the positive answers. And that's where you basically influence all your analysis. That's where you are 100% sure that yes, I will or we will achieve our target, because managers, as you all know, they work as a team. So that's what you are looking into it. Again, when we did talk about SWOT analysis, what was that? You are looking into your strength along with your weaknesses and your opportunities along with your threats. You try to cover your strongest parts. You try to cover your opportunities. The maximum you cover those, the more chances are that you will get rid of your weaknesses and you will get rid of your threats. And that's where you basically influence all your analysis. Basically, this intuition analysis is analytical thinking and intuitive thinking. Why? Because when we are doing qualitative and quantitative analysis, that's what we are. We are analyzing things and we are intuitively thinking on these things. We are making 2 + 2 = 4. That's what we are looking into it. We are looking into the facts and figures, factual things. Is this thing possible? Something which we didn't get it on top of air, that like, okay, it was there, we got it. No, it happened. It has to happen in the past, because this is what the organizations are facing. Something happened in the past, it might happen or it will happen in today's daytime, in today's day and age. Now you are basically qualifying it and quantifying it. You are making the quantity into it and you are qualifying it. In this regard, you are getting factual figures from your secondary and primary data, which we will discuss later on in our discussions. Adapting to change, that's a very must thing these days for managers, because if a manager needs to change something, if the manager needs to diversify, managers need to accept those changes, whether that can be internal change, whether that can be your external change, whether you want to cross the boundary and go to some other country and set up your business, whether you want to do something in your own country and you are looking for those small changes. A very small thing for some, but for others it's a big thing. A technological change. I, as a manager, am sitting over here using this laptop. For me, it's an easy thing. I don't need to look at every key and every time I need to press it. Why? Because I've been using this thing for so long that I know my way around on this laptop. But now, if all of a sudden technologically something advanced, more advanced comes over here, with the touch of a screen, you are getting all your commands done. Am I getting those changes accepted? Am I allowing myself to bring into these things in an organization? If I do that, then I'm a good manager. Why? Because managers are always accepting changes, technologically, legally, politically, economically, internal changes as well as external changes, which we will discuss later on. Organizations must also monitor events which are ongoing processes, internal and external events, and timely changes. A good manager is a manager who change when the time is right. You don't need to change before time, you don't need to change after time. The reason is that if you change before time, you may not be using that thing for a longer period of time. So you are wasting all your resources. And if you want your competitors to follow you, then you don't need to change after the time has elapsed. Reason, if your competitor has adapted to that change and you are now going to take that change into your organization, then you are falling behind. You as a manager need not to do that.
But how can we change before time? I mean, if that change is not there at So we can't bring it in beforehand, you know.
Fiza, these days, as we call world, and we named it into a global village. Okay, something happens somewhere before it can reach to your region. Don't you think that yes, it will take some time to reach to your region, and you can adapt to the change, where you can start training people that this is what you're planning to bring in your organization, or this is the thing which we will be using it in future. So start preparing for yourself. So that is when you are changing yourself before time, because technologies every single day is changing. Okay, it's your job to get yourself upgraded at all times, and it's your job to know what those changes are. Let's take a little lighter example. In a country where, say, oil produces, you know that oil price is on the rise. Okay, every week, every month, every quarter, oil prices rise. Now, can you put a price tag on your product before that change comes in? Why? Because you know the schedule of your product, that this product will be in the market on certain date, and that date is when the oil price is going to change. So can you change your price before time?
Yes.
See, that's what it is. That is what I meant by that you can do the changes before it can happen, and that is the sign of a good manager, that timely decisions. Okay, before even your competitor can think of, you are the one who has already done it. So this is what you have to look into. You have to keep on looking that world scenario. You have to keep on looking between the organizations. You have to look among your competitors. You have to look around what is going on. Every single thing which changes before time, you need to do it, or don't wait for that time when it passes, because then you are not going to be a leader. You're not going to be a good manager. You need to do things before they can come on you. You have to do it before that. That's what this timely change in internal and external events and ongoing processes stands for. Strategic management is gaining and maintaining competitive advantage. As just now I've said it, that you have to be there before your competitors can even think of. You have to be there in the market. You have to achieve those targets. What those things are, anything that a firm does especially well compared to rival firms. You need to make strategies as such that your competitor is thinking on those lines at this moment. You should be applying those things with your product, with your organization, with your services. Why? Because you have to have an advantage over your competitors. In today's world, you snooze, you lose. You might have heard this saying before, that if you do that, time has gone, because you get very short period. Your competitor is basically watching you very closely, that where you lack, that's where they will gain. You need not to do that. You have to be there before even somebody can think of. As Fiza has asked me a question, that how can we do that? That's how you need to plan. You need to move on faster. You need to do things on regular basis. You need to look into the changes on regular basis.
Can you predict changes?
What? Be more specific. What you're looking for?
Can you predict changes coming?
Yes. A small example. Your technological change is going to happen tomorrow after 1 hour. Can you predict that? Yes. Your weather change. Can you predict that? Yes. These things are now in a set pattern where managers know that these things will change at certain time. I've given you the example of oil change. Now I'm giving you the time period, even that you have a time period of, say, a month, a quarter, where your price is going to change. Can you predict that? What will be your price, oil price in next 3 months? Of course you can do that. What your customers' demand are going to be in next 3 months, in next 2 months, in next year. Yes, that's why you are the manager. That's why you are running the entire organization, because you are predicting those changes. And that's why we have named it as a timely change. Suppose you are in a textile industry, okay? You are producing clothes. You are going from summer to winter. When will you do your changes in clothes? When you are going to start making warm clothes? When you are almost done with your summer clothing and you know that in next 4 months time winter will start in my country. So you will wait for those 4 months to come, or you will start making changes in your production line.
Start making
You'll
changes.
start making changes in your production line. Similarly, today people are talking about hybrid cars. You are an automotive manager. Are you going to predict, are you going to wait for that time that when really in your country energy crises are at its peak and you will go for a hybrid car? Or you can start thinking on those lines today and be ready for the future. You have to do that. You can predict these things. You can predict the changes. You can predict them timely. That's why we have made you the manager of an organization, right? Moving on, achieving a sustained competitive advantage is adapting to change in external trends, internal capabilities and resources. Again, adapting to change in external trends. Just now Muneer, I've given him a lot of examples that you are looking those external trends which are happening outside your organization and you are adapting to that change. Today, everybody talks about outsourcing. Today, everybody is talking about global village. What is that? That is that your country or the world has come to such a small portion that you can be in anywhere you want to be at any specific time just by sitting in your organization and being in another country. Have you heard about video conferencing? Have you heard about people interacting on the net with each other? Why? Because you don't need to spend too much time in traveling. You can just do it by sitting in your office and gaining that same advantage what you used to do previously by traveling, right? That's your external trend. Maybe your competitor is hiring some good people. Maybe your competitor is about to bring in some new technological change. You need to do it before that. You need to look into it and you need to adopt that thing. Hybrid car example I've given, people who are in automotive industry, they need to start thinking on those lines. People in these regions where we are still running on petrol, diesel or on natural gas. These things are getting scarce. Can we do the timely changes? Your answer is yes, because those resources are shrinking. You need to come up with something new. That's where you need to do the change. That's where you need to look into your external trends. Internal capabilities. Do you have the right amount of people working for your organization? Do you have the right skilled labor working for your organization? Are you following all the rules and regulations, what you are made up of? These are your internal capabilities. Are you using your resources to the maximum, where you need a professional who has a qualification and who has experience? Are you using that person, or are you using somebody who's now almost come to an age of retirement? Are you doing that? These are the things which you as a manager have to look into it, that if I bring in the fresh blood, if I bring in the person who has just graduated from the university with a good qualification and everything, fine, he doesn't or she doesn't have the experience. But the thing is this person knows most of the new things which has just happened in few years time while this person was going to university. You can bring in that person in your organization to enhance your resources, human resources. You need to enhance your financial resources. You need to have upgradation in your financial system. You don't need to follow those old systems. You need to bring in new systems. Reason that these are the small things which basically make one organization, and if that organization want to achieve something, this is how you need to make plans. Effective formulating, implementing and evaluating strategies. You need to be effectively involved in having these competitive advantages, where you should be formulating, meaning formalizing it, making certain formulas in such a way that you should be having, always you should be having edge over your competitors, always you should be having edge over people around you. Why? Because you want to be there in the market. You want to have all the strengths, then your weaknesses. You want to have all the opportunities, then your threats. Implement them and then evaluate those strategies. If they are working good for you, still you need to evaluate your strategies. They are working good for me now, but as we have been talking about time change and timely change, are these strategies going to last me forever, or do I need to change them again? This is what you have to look into it. Adapting to change, a rate and magnitude to change increases dramatically, such as we have already briefly talked about e-commerce, demographics, technology. E-commerce is a thing of today. There are so many businesses which are happening on your net. You need to buy a car, you need to buy a house, you need to buy a plane. You don't need to be in an organization, you don't need to be in a market. You can just do it by sitting at your home on your computer, and you can buy or you can sell anything with that. Today, businesses are going towards e-commerce. Demographics, maybe a change from rural to urban areas, maybe a change from people not getting married and then getting married, maybe people having their income increase, maybe people moving from their country to another country. Things are happening. Things do change on regular basis. Things do change on daily basis. Things do change on timely basis. You need to look into this thing, and you have to rate these changes. You have to adopt these changes, and then you look into the magnitude of these changes that are increasingly so rapidly that you have to really put your foot down, and you have to get hold of all these things. Technology, everybody knows things are changing technologically so much that we need to be there at all times. We need to be on our toes to make such strategies where we should be changing we should be adopting these changes on regular basis. Effective adoption requires a long-term focus. Where you are today, where you want to be in future, that's your long-term, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years down the road. You need to have an effective adoption. That adoption will keep on moving with your changes, with your good management skills, and you have to always look into your long-term ranges. Adapting to change, key strategic management questions: what kind of business should we become? What you are today, do you really want to do it for the rest of your life? The answer should be no. This is where I am, this is what I am doing, but this is just for today. Tomorrow I'll be more advanced. Tomorrow I will be doing something which will be more sound, which will be more long range, which have more effectiveness to your business. That's what you have to answer to this question. Are we in the right field? Normally people, when they go into the business, they think of it, yes, this is the business I want to do, but very soon they find out that no, this business was not right for them. Then was that good on your part as a manager that you started something and now you're asking, are we in the right field? The thing is this, you should ask yourself before you proceed with anything. Are you, whatever business you are going to do, are you doing it in the right way? Is that the right business which you really want to do? If you are positive, if your strategies and your evaluations and your formulations and again your qualitative and quantitative analysis are up to mark, then you should be able to get the answer positively that yes, this is the right field I want to do, I want to be in, and I want to progress in such a way. Are there new competitors? Every business, whether you are the innovator of that business, today you are the innovator, today you are the only one who's doing that business, tomorrow they will have competitors. How you're going to deal with them, how you're going to look into them, or whatever business you're getting into, do you already have competitors in the market for them? These are the things which you have to look for. What strategies should we pursue? We have talked about very few strategies till this point, but then again, what strategies we need to implement, what strategies we need to have so that we can have a smooth operations and we can run our business on a smooth basis. How are our customers changing? Meaning, what your customers are demanding today, are they going to be the same tomorrow? Or whatever they are demanding today, was that the same demand what they did in the past? The answer should be no, because now people are changing in this regard, that they are more aware of the organizations, they are more aware of the products, they are more aware of what this organization is doing socially and as well as environmentally for the country. These are the things which your customers are known to it. So you need to answer these few of the questions before you get into anything, and that's what you're adapting to change, which are your basic key questions in your strategic management. Key terms: strategist, firms, a success or failure. Various job titles: chief executive, chief strategy officer, president, owner, board chair, and executive director. These are your basically a pyramid of your organization's hierarchy, where you should be having all these people working for an organization. Your key terms: vision statement, what do we want to become, and your mission statement, what is our business. Again, we are talking about our opportunities and threats, largely beyond the control of a single organization. Your opportunities and your threats are. Then your key terms in opportunities and threats: external are analysis of trends, which are your economic, social, cultural, demographic, environmental, political, legal, governmental, technological, and your competitor. Your environmental scanning, industrial analysis consists of process of conducting research and gathering and assimilating external information. Basic tenet of strategic management is strategic formulation, which starts off: take advantage of external opportunities and avoid or minimize impact of external threats. I would like to spend just a little time with this particular thing, that you take advantage of your external opportunities. Is the reason why you take opportunities externally, you look into it, and why you take advantage of them. The reason is that those opportunities are there in the job, in the market, but the thing is that you might be having some weaknesses along with it, tagged with it. So those opportunities can be yours if you really look into it deeply and you want to bring it to your organization. These are the things which become advantage for you, because you learn from somebody's foolproof business, and then you bring it back to an, or in other words, you learn from your mistakes, okay? And that person who has not done a mistake, he's doing the right business at the right time, you bring in those things in your organization. So you need to take really good look into those opportunities, and then you avoid and you minimize impact of external threats. Those threats, you need to avoid them. The reason you need to avoid them is the more you have threats for your organization, the chances are that you will suffer a lot. Business wise, you will suffer, your resources will be not used properly. You may not be able to think in such a direction that where you are going, what your business was, what your mission was, what your vision is. So you need to look into these things, and you need to avoid this. This is basically it for today's lecture, because now these things are repetitive. In our next lecture, we will discuss with a new topic which is covered in your book. So till then, see you.